Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress with coverage of the tiebreak of the 2017 Gibraltar Masters. After the 10 rounds of the tournament, 3 players were in the lead. David Anton from Spain, Hikaru Nakamura from the USA and Yu Yangyi from China, all with 8 points out of 10 games. So a tiebreak had to decide, and according to the tiebreak rules, Nakamura and Yu Yangyi had to play a semi-finals first, which was won by Nakamura, and then the final between Nakamura and Anton. The first game was a draw with Anton with the white pieces, and I'll show you the second game. 10 minutes per player for the whole game, with a 5-second increment per move. Let's have a look. Nakamura white, Anton black. Knight f3, knight f6, d4, e6, c4, b6, g3, bishop b7. We are in a classical Queen's Indian. Bishop g2, bishop e7, both players castled. Knight c3, knight e4, all very standard. Bishop d2, bishop f6, rook c1, this is one of the variations that is possible, played many times, and d6. d5 from Nakamura, now the knight on e4 is hanging, and all 3 capturing moves have been tried before. Taking on d2, taking with the bishop on c3, or the move that Anton played, knight takes c3. Bishop takes, rook takes, and e5. Nakamura played e4. This is structurally better for white, as the bishop on b7 needs time to become a real piece through c8. White has more space, white is slightly better. a5 from Anton, knight d2, knight d7, and f4. Queen e7, knight back, the knight just went to d2 to let the f-pawn through, and with f6, black is setting up the Gandalf defense, as the commentator Simon Williams called it. Of course, that's a character from the Lord of the Rings, and he says, "Thou shalt not pass." What black is doing is setting up a blockade on the dark squares. It's quite passive, but it's very solid. Rook e1, knight c5, of course a very nice outpost for the knight there, but it's not completely steady because white can kick it away with the a3, b3 and b4 moves, and we'll see that in the game. Rook ce3, bishop c8, as mentioned before, black wants to activate his bishop. Nakamura afterwards said that he thought that c7, c6 is also an idea to activate the bishop, but Anton decided on bishop c8. Queen c2 from Nakamura. White can play on the queen side here with b3, a3, b4 as we'll see, but he also can choose to play on the king side with g4, with f5 and then g4, g5 and maybe h4. Bishop d7 from Anton and b3. Nakamura is preparing to get the pawn to b4, kicking the knight. Rook fb8, and now black also has an active plan, starting with b6, b5. a3 as per plan, and Anton comes with b5. C takes b5 is a very important move. Nakamura understands that the half-open c file will be very important for him, that's why he took. Rook takes, knight d2, protecting the b3 pawn, and now rook b7, prophylactically stepping out of the way of a possible bishop f1 move, but according to Nakamura, rook a b8 would have been better to try and stop the b3, b4 move. But okay, rook b7 was played, rook b1 from Nakamura, and bishop e8. b4. Now that white has got his move in, he has the upper hand. Nakamura thought this was the key moment in the game. He felt he was winning after being able to kick the knight with b4. A takes b4, A takes b4, and knight d7. Knight c4, knight f8. Time was also important here. Nakamura still had 8 minutes left, and Anton only had 4 minutes left. Knight a5, rook ba7, and f5. White is trying to stop black's counterplay that he's planning on the king side. Anton has no choice, he has to try and create counterplay there. So g6, g4, and h5. He has to play something active, otherwise he will be tortured on the queen side and will lose the game. Bishop f3. Grandmaster Simon Williams, who gave live commentary, said that this was the Alekhine way of playing. Probe on one side, which was the queen side, white was probing on the queen side, and then when black gets active on the other side, you switch yourself to that side, and that's what's happening in this game. Queen a7, king h1, going out of the way for a rook coming to g1. Queen h6, rook c3, knight h7, and the knight might be on its way to f4 on a good day, through g5, h3 to f4. That would be a great achievement. Nakamura recognized he had to play actively here to stop black's plan on the king side. It's important also to see that you cannot take the pawn on c7 here with white, because rook takes, queen takes, then there is h takes g4, and black has strong play against white's king. For example, bishop g2, just to continue the variation, g3, and you have to play h3, and then knight g5, and white is in big trouble. Nakamura did not take on c7, he took on g6. He had to play actively. Bishop takes, g takes h5, opening the g file. Nakamura is now switching to a kingside attack, and he can switch his rooks much more quickly than black can. I said already that white has more space, and that clearly comes to the fore now. It's much easier for white to reposition his pieces than it is for blacks. Bishop takes h5, queen f2, Anton took on f3, rook took back, and king h8. Rook g1 is planned, and here Anton played a slightly mysterious looking move, rook a6, but this was really to enable his rook a8 to move, because he cannot move his rook from a8 now, because then the rook on a7 would be hanging. The queen on f2 is attacking it. So rook a6 and queen f1, and again the rook on a8 cannot move, because now the rook on a6 would be hanging. Anton went back to a7 with the rook, and rook h3. Queen f4, and here the quickest way to win that Nakamura didn't see is queen g2, because if then queen g5, there's rook g3, winning the game for white. Nakamura played queen e2, which is also a good move. Rook g8, finally black can bring some defenders over, and here Nakamura saw that he could win a piece. Rook takes h7 check, king takes, queen h5 check, The queen has to interpose. The queens get swapped. And you win the rook back on g8. And have won a piece in the process. Anton could have resigned here, but of course it was a rapid game and he was hoping for a miracle. I'll show you the remaining moves. Rook a6, king g2, rook b6, knight c6 defending the pawn, rook a6 trying to activate the rook, knight e7 bringing the knight closer to black's king. There might be even a mating net coming up. Rook a4, knight f5 check, king h5, h4, rook takes the pawn, king h3. You cannot take the e-pawn now, because if you take it there is a knight fork on g3 and you lose the rook. So rook c4 was played by Anton. Rook h8 check, king g6, h5 check, king g5, knight e3, protecting the e4 pawn and protecting against checks from the rook. Rook c3, rook g8 check, and here Anton resigned. He could have played king h6, but then another pawn goes, rook g6 check, king h7, and rook takes f6, and you're a piece down, and that h-pawn is going to queen. Great win from Nakamura, who has now won the Gibraltar Masters 3 years in a row and 4 times in total. Wonderful achievement. Hope you enjoyed this last game of the 2017 Gibraltar Masters. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe, and I'm looking forward to your comments. This is Rick from Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.